Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I want to talk about Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition, and I want to talk about the Friends Reunion and what every good Dungeon Master can learn from the Friends Reunion. Alright, so they just had the Friends Reunion. It's on HBO Max, and I watched a little bit of it, and it was really fascinating, right? It's a big historical deal. There's billions of dollars on the line with this thing, in that this attaches to a multi-billion-dollar intellectual property that will probably be around for a century or more, at least. Maybe multiple. You know what? Friends could be like the new Shakespeare. Definitely, right? So, if you don't think Friends is big, you ain't paying attention. It is massive. One of the things I think is really, really interesting was a friend of mine, he is ESL, he's English as a second language, and he came over from another country, and he explained that Friends was one of the ways that he learned to speak English, right? Was he would just watch Friends and literally look up words from it, right? Because he had access to the internet. And he said, Friends, and he said he was not alone. A lot of other people did this too, right? And it was very, very interesting. So Friends is huge. It's just absolutely massive. So they did the reunion, and it was interesting. So they had Lisa Kudrow and Matt LeBlanc and I think it's Matthew Perry. No, I can't remember the other guys. Yeah, the guy who played Chandler. I think it's Matthew Perry. David Schwimmer, Jennifer Aniston, Courtney Cox. Right? Only Matthew Perry. I think I got his name right. We'll see. All right. So it was really fascinating, right? So what they did in the reunion was they just brought them back to the sets. They brought them back to Cafe Perk, right, or the coffee shop that was in the Friends, and they also brought it back to Courtney Cox and Jennifer Aniston's apartment, right? And what really blew my mind was when they brought them in, they brought them into the set, right? And the set was a massive building. It was like as large as an airplane hangar. And what was really, really fascinating was they brought them into the set, and it's just this dark area, this dingy, unfinished area where the walls are not painted and it just looks terrible. And then in the middle of this gigantic building is this incredibly well lit set, right? And I realized, we really need to think as Dungeon Masters that the reality is Dungeons & Dragons is self-selecting for some of this, in my opinion, the most smartest, the best combination of charisma, creativity, and intelligence in the world. People who are attracted to Dungeons & Dragons are world shakers. They are world breakers, right? They're super smart, they're super charismatic, and they are super creative, okay? And the reality is when you bring your players in, they see it all. That's the issue, right? I think, when video gamers play video games, I think a lot of them don't really see all the behind-the-scenes stuff that it took to make that video game. They literally don't care about it, right? But all your players, like most of your players, are going to be a hair's breadth away from being a Dungeon Master themselves, right? As soon as you see what Dungeons & Dragons does, a lot of people don't stay in the player seat that long. They want to be in the Dungeon Master seat long. And that means they see the dark and the light. They see the brilliant set that you've created. They see the brilliant world you've created. But they also see the other part. They see the dark room that your brilliant set is sitting in. They see the source books that you use. They see they see clues of the podcasts you listen to. They see clues of the YouTubers that you're getting ideas from, right? The thing is, I think we like to think that they just see the lit part, but our players are just too smart, too charismatic, too creative to not see the rest. And so they see the dark part of the set, and they see the lights part of the set, right? And this is interesting because if you recognize that they're seeing the dark and the light, then you can use that, right? Also, because of this, I think as Dungeon Masters, we want those players to be in their seats, and we want them to enjoy the game, but we just have to realize, Richie Cunningham, right? Perfect example, right? He played, Ron Howard, I think his name is, but he played Richie Cunningham on Happy Days, right? And he was just an actor, but then he became a director. What you have to realize is you may have one of the greatest dungeon masters who will ever turn the pages on the Dungeon Master sitting in front of you. And we have to realize they can see, our most savvy players can see the dark and the light. So when we recognize that, we can run the game in a truly unique perspective that allows us to interact with our players in a unique way. I think it's important to understand that we love to think that the players just see our worlds and they're interacting with it, but they see the dark part of the set too, right? We just don't have that. We don't have that luxury that video game companies have, the super disengaged players who just care about, hearing whatever story you're gonna, put in front of them and moving on to the next content, right? We have just the people we have sitting at our tables. These people end up leading companies and making truly important decisions in high up positions. Some of them become billionaires, right? Because we got a lot of people in the tech industry. Many of them lobby billionaires, or lobby governments. We have some incredible people at our tables, right? And I think we just need to recognize they see the dark and the light. That's where I'm going with that. What's your thought on this? Do you see what I'm saying? Where we build this set, but reality is the building around the set is still there, right? It's our books, it's our podcasts, it's our YouTubers, it's our minis, all that, right? And we just need to be aware of what they're seeing and what they're not, and who we have sitting in front of us. Let's keep that in mind. Well, that's my opinion. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing. Have a wonderful morning.